All right. Looks like check. Okay. Hopefully that's okay. It was the right one in OBS, so hopefully it was the right one the whole time. Jumping straight in today. I did not stream this morning. I've been streaming for a bit on Mondays during the day because I'm working on CircuitPython now. I did not stream this morning because I ran the meeting for the first time today. So it's over here, I guess. We'll need this. So I was prepping for that. But I am going to stream a bit now, working on the Winamp project, but I will be making the Learn guide. So it'll be a little bit different from the last couple of streams. I don't remember, I don't think I've done a Learn guide one before. Maybe we did a little bit of work on Learn guides here and there. I'm basically gonna build out a good chunk of the guide for the Winamp project, and I figured it might be nice to do it on stream in case folks are interested in taking a look at what all goes into a Learn guide. I know Scott's shown some as well on the recent Raspberry Pi guide that Scott did. He streamed a little bit of it, but it's kind of a side of the system that folks don't necessarily get to see all too often. Unless you have also written a guide, then it's like kind of a different thing that you would not have seen. Not sure if this helps. We've got folks, I've got pulled up the a thread here in the Discord of Anecdata and a couple other folks who are discussing the issue that we were getting the other day with that mag tag with the telescope UR. We got that new URL for the web telescope, but we were not able to fetch it. I'm going to do one more thing before we go in here. Here. That I definitely turned off the audio from the desktop. Yeah, going into OBS so nobody else hears my music. That's a good thing. It's trouble with the copyright fairies, I'm sure, if we were to do that. Certainly not what we want. All right. Okay, so if folks don't know, well, I guess let's start with a brief introduction. Hello to everyone who is watching. My name is Tim. I go by FoamyGuy on GitHub and Discord. I'm going to be working on the Winamp project. If you don't know what the Winamp project is, I did a bunch of the work for it on a couple previous streams, so you can check the VODs out and see what that project is all about. I'm going to switch back over to it real quick. Oh, I have the macro pad connected. Let me unplug the macro pad. Maybe later on, if we get a good chunk of this guide knocked out, maybe before I wrap up, I will show the macro pad script that I made. Help me do timestamps during the meeting. Hopefully we should be, here we go. SD card. Right, I took the SD card out because I was using it with the camera. And over here, second, we gotta get the SD card. Okay. SD card back in the PyPortal. There's not much to see, but I'll camera for folks that maybe haven't seen the back of the PyPortal before. And then once we have this in, we should be able to see the actual Winamp project. And like I mentioned, though, we're not really working on the code today. I think the code's pretty much set. I mean, if we find something we need to tweak, maybe we will, but be happy with the state of the code right now, I think. And so I'll be working on the guide, basically just building out the main pages. Oh, I said I would do that on camera, and then I really didn't, but I just put the SD card back in. Let's close these. We don't need these anymore. And what do we have? Okay. All right, so we're running. It's playing music. I don't think, probably not coming through because it is these sample songs I loaded on it are fairly quiet. I had put some real music on there, and it was actually quite loud with the speaker that I had plugged in. These ones are a little quieter. I have a noise gate on the mic, so I don't think it's picking up, but it is playing. I can pause it. I will, just by tapping the top half. And we'll leave it there for now. So this is a look at the Winamp project. This is using one of the custom skins. This one is the ASCII art skin. But there's a base skin that's kind of the stock Winamp. There's also a whole page with hundreds and hundreds of skins to choose from. And we'll be incorporating that into the guide as well. And again, if you're interested in this project and you don't know anything more about it, you can catch a couple of the previous VODs on YouTube, or they might still be there on Twitch as well. And you can see basically everything that's gone into this project so far if you're interested. So I'm going to be making a new guide. This is a section of Learn System that you have to have special access to. You want to make a new guide. And so these are all the things that go into it when you first set it up. We need a title. I'm also going to open back up the list of my previous guides because there are some things I reference other ones. Some things I reference from the older ones that I reuse. So some things like PyPortal, we called this one PyPortal Work From Home Busy Simulator, and it was for the PyPortal. I think we'll probably stick with a similar naming convention. PyPortal, this one is Winamp MP3 player. Let's see here. So we can change all of this stuff in the future. So, you know, sometimes I have an idea for all of these things in mind when I create the guide. Sometimes I put placeholder in and come back to it a little while later and eventually fill it in. A couple of these. Okay. So here we have the tagline that gets shown, I think, down below the name generally, somewhere around there. I feel like we should probably do something about whipping llamas in the tagline for this. I don't know. Whip. Llama. What was the actual, this is because Winamp. This was like it really whips the llama's ass. This was the way one of the ways, I'm sure they market it in other ways, but this is one of the ways that they market it. So I feel like we could play on that maybe. Let's see. Enjoy tunes from PyPortal and whip llama. I don't know if we want to go llama's ass. One thing, it's already getting a little long. For another thing, I don't know if we want to use ass in the title, or well, the tagline is what we're doing here, but enjoy tunes from your PyPortal and whip the llama. Or maybe we just do enjoy tunes from your PyPortal, whipping optional. Whipping optional. That one. Although this does say one sentence. Make it a kind of like that one. Explain your project in detail. This one's one paragraph, so this is a PyPortal MP3 player. Play MP3 files. We'll play playlist of MP3 files stored on the SD card. It's the base Winamp. I don't know if they did capital amp Winamp. How did they like lowercase? Amp all one word, lowercase. Base win amp theme or custom one. Convert it to your PyPortal. And again, we can always come back and change some of these things. Upload an image. I think I'll load the base theme and then take an image like that. I may end up a different image at some point. You can always trade it out though. The one thing is I want to probably try to take the image straight on with the light. Let me do that. Let's see what it looks like. Try this. So of course right now it's awful because this is reflecting back. Maybe one thing. Focus. Yeah. Let's see what it does. I just actually put some new lights in around here, so maybe this will aid in a situation like this. All right, let me try turning on the new lights and see what it looks like. So that could maybe work. Pick one here, and then if we get a better one later, we can always switch it out. I do want to go with the base theme though. Which I already have loaded up. I can just change these two things. Go ahead and pause it. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna want a rectangular photo. I'm actually gonna leave some extra space here. Yeah. So now we can scrunch it in a bit. Although we don't want to go too far. We want to still leave a little bit border, but this way we can really have the ability to play with this a little bit and not be cutting off anything. Okay. Ever so slightly angled, which I wish it weren't, but is where we landed. Alright, and I think maybe this will update when I come back to this page. There's a couple other things we want to fill in though. Some of it's done automatically. Author, guide type is project, although we would want to change it if it was something different. Products, we set somewhere else. This one's going to be beginner. We need to choose categories. CircuitPython we're going to do. Displays maybe also. What did I do on... Yeah, so you can see this. I took the photo at an angle of this PyPortal, which got rid of my glare problem. But it is at an angle, and it looks kind of weird because most of the other photos are straight on. What do I want? Guide settings. There should be, let's look at categories here. I did CircuitPython, I did graphic TFTs. Okay, I also did MicroPython, CircuitPython, and project. Here, CircuitPython we already got. Programming, projects. Here we go. So this is pretty much all the same categories as the previous PyPortal project. Well, the second one back, right? Actually, the previous one would be the Nico Kitty. All right. There, our main photo is filled in, and it does look all right. I think I like the lighting with. I like the lighting a little bit better the other way with the light on. This is with the camera light off, but the new lights that I put in this part of the room on. But I do like the fact that it's square and not at an angle. So need to work on my down shooting camera. See if I can figure out a way to get some good lighting in it that's maybe off to the sides or something like that. So it doesn't reflect back. Anyway, we have the basics of a guide up now, so now we can start adding pages. All guides pretty much always start with a page called Overview. I'm gonna make that music back. Let's go here. All right. All guides pretty much start with an overview. And you can either just create, like I just created a page. I can fill stuff in on this page, or I can leave it empty for right now. Obviously, we'll come back and fill it in at some point, but I kind of like to just build out the skeleton a little bit first. So overview, I know I want project setup or Python setup. This one called it. I was maybe not consistent on those, was it? So the truthfully, I think maybe device setup might be better, but I don't want to use a third one. I think I'll go project setup again. Which this will be specifically loading it onto your PyPortal device. This project is going to be a little different from the other previous two because there is some stuff that needs to be done on your PC before your project setup. Or I think what I'll do is maybe include the base theme, so you don't have to do anything on your PC and you don't have to go pick a custom theme. But we'll provide the instructions to do those things if you want to, in which case you would do those, get your theme file, get your config file, and then load it onto your device, which is what this page will have the instructions for, is loading it onto your device. But since we'll ship the base one, I think it's fine to put this as project setup and to make it first. One thing we will have actually, which this one did as well, is not this one, but the work from home one, is the speaker setup, which I think I embedded, external speaker. Ah, I didn't embed it. But I will reuse probably the photos and the, not the words, because the words will be different. This one's about work from home. Like people overhearing it. So I think we'll choose the same name though, external speaker. So let's make an external speaker. External speaker. And we can reorder these at any time, but I do want external speaker above project setup. Custom theme. Custom theme. Although they call them skins, don't they? Yeah. I should use the name skin. I like theme term better than skin, but we should go with what they've already used. This is probably making, I think now that we're done with the photo, let me actually switch the lights because it's washing me out a bit. There we go. Okay. And because I have not actually put anything on this page yet, I think what I'm going to do is delete this page. We can rename it. Technically, that'd be fine. There's just other places you have to, if you rename it, there's a couple other places you need to change it also. Since we haven't done anything, it's just easier, I think, if we just go, boop, delete, new page. This time we can put custom skin. Custom Winamp skin? Skin? Yeah, I think so. Custom skin. Code walkthrough. Capital T on that one. We okay. Maybe one for playlist. And in the PyPortal, so we can also embed main PyPortal. I mean, really was any. I think on the PyPortal side, on the SD card, I guess format it to something. Actually, no. This, I think, maybe not using the same hardware, of course, but this is still. Oh, was that the formatting stuff? Oh, okay. This is basically what our project set up. More like this. Although this is actually a combination. This looks code walkthrough and project setup. Okay, so there's not something necessarily that we would want to embed from here. But I do think we want a page like, what do we want to call it? Prepare playlist. Prepare playlist? Yeah, I think so. Prepare lists with an S maybe, plural. And on that page, it will describe what else? I think maybe it could describe a few things. It could describe editing your MP3s with Audacity to set the bitrate. I think that was bitrate, like I did the other day. When I first downloaded these test MP3s, they weren't working, and I modified them in Audacity, and it got them working. We want to show those steps in case people have MP3s that are a different bitrate or whatever it is. If it's not bitrate, that was not supported, and I changed it over to make it supported. We'll show that, and that's kind of like setting up your playlist as well, because you can do that to all of the music in your playlist. Then you're going to paste all of that stuff on your SD card. We would also tell them if they need to, they haven't done it yet, to format their SD card, so that would be there. Paste everything on. And then the last thing that page would show is making the playlist JSON file, which is basically this. So it would contain like a template maybe, and then they could fill in their own music, make sure the file names are all correct. And that will be the playlist setup page. So I think prepare lists. Okay. This is the order I want. So overview, then external speaker, prepare playlists, project setup, which is basically copying the code onto your device. Code walkthrough, this will explain all the CircuitPython code. Custom Winamp skin, this will show how to download from the skins website and run the convert script to get it ready for CircuitPython. This one's pretty glow. I don't know if these change always. Definitely they don't all of them don't change, because I definitely recognize some of them coming back to this page so many times now. Among Us, that's kind of funny. Among Us didn't even exist. I don't think. Actually, no. Among Us came out, I guess. Get popular, at least. Alright. For my pages. Overview. So we'll have a video here. I'm just going to put a placeholder for it for now. Video placeholder. So I'll record a short, maybe 1 minute video that shows the application and just talks about what it is briefly, introduce it, basically. The video placeholder. On this page, we always put the products that are used by the guide. Those, they like to just have another tab and bounce back. PyPortal definitely 4116. PyPortal Titano, PyPortal Pint. 4465. I don't have a Titano. I guess the Titano is a bigger resolution. 444. So it actually, I think what it would do on the Titano is just have empty margin around it on the bottom and right. Not actually, probably get one of these. Test that. The other one we can suggest is the parts kit or whatever. This one right here, desktop stand enclosure. I don't actually have one of these. Oh, does it work with portrait? Set this portrait. Here. Like it would go portrait, does it? Oh, because these are the holes that the stand goes in. We need to turn 90 degrees. We need to have some more holes this way. This way. Maybe we won't put this one, because this does hold it landscape and our project is portrait. I mean, you could use it still. It's not like you couldn't use it, but you need to modify it or set sideways. Probably modify it. You could probably make like a little adapter somehow that goes 90 degrees pretty easy. Don't actually know though. Okay, so then probably these will just be the three. Oh, a speaker, actually. Let's do a speaker. I have one of these little speakers here. Mine is like specifically this one. 4227. Oops. Okay. Check the work from home guide because we should have a pretty similar list to it. I think maybe slightly different because this one probably does have the enclosure. And I guess, okay, so we can go ahead and throw on the long string speaker as well, although it is out of stock. I guess it probably wouldn't be, wasn't gonna. 3923, so let's throw that one in. We'll put it at the bottom though. And 3923, usually we're trying to get like 92. Kind of depends on the project a little bit, but like about 5 is pretty good target. Projects using 5 different products, then those are kind of the ones we want to list here. The other place where we do actually list same things is in this featured products, because it goes on the sidebar. Oh, it doesn't show the number anymore. 5, 4. Seven. Saves automatically. So preview now, and it will show us what we're looking at so far. So we have our overview page. We will put a video here. Ultimately, we'll have probably a paragraph as well describing the project. These things will all be listed at the bottom. They're also listed in the sidebar. Okay. Go back to editor and let's put text paragraph or so about the project. So project your say create and manage multiple JSON playlists. To something to say that we can have multiple playlists and it's easy to swap between them. A step further. Now on Winamp skin, I'm gonna link this page. Number 2. On and you step further. Custom on your say something. I think we should put something fun here, maybe. See. back days of weapon fun. Good old days of Llama whipping fun. Texture. We'll probably make this page pretty darn close to what we have the work from. Oh, I should keep that open actually. Grab same information for the SD card form. I think we'll do a side 2 and a big image like this. Keep the same basic layout for this page. I must have a copy of these files somewhere, but I actually know where it's at. And I do know that I can just download a new one here with guide. So we'll make a side 2 image, this one. I think it'll be along the same lines, but we won't have anything about the over here. Our portal does have a built-in speaker, but it's fairly small. You could probably start it the same way. We'll just change out this part. Maybe easier for people to overhear your notifications if you plug in a bigger external speaker. We'll just say something about making it easier to jam to your tunes or something. So what's it? The PyPortal. It's out with the PyPortal does have a built-in speaker. Does have a built-in speaker. Fairly small. Is fairly. Want tunes play louder. Plug in a larger external speaker. or to play louder. Could use a speaker, and then we can, similar to this, I think it says, yeah, luckily the PyPortal contains a plug-in adapter for just that. And so here's one edit page, text, and it drag and drop stuff on you. Luckily, the PyPortal contains a plug-in adapter for just that. If you do want to use the external speaker, you must cut a small jumper connection on the board in order to prevent the built-in speaker from playing in addition to the external one. Well, that's still irrelevant. Good. PyPortal does have a built-in speaker, but it's fairly small. If you want your tunes to play louder, larger speaker. PyPortal contains a adapter for just that. All right, we'll do the big picture as well, which was media, upload, one. Yep. Alt. Okay. This page should be pretty close to loaded yet, and I guess this page should be pretty close to this page. Cropping is different. Okay, let's cut it. I can still. Yeah, I could replace it and it would allow me to redo the cropping. I think I'll leave it for now. Good here, this page. Overview. Air playlist. So I'm gonna start doing this now. Section air playlists. So this page we're gonna have a couple of different headers on. One of them will be, so let's see. We'll say convert MP3s. I don't know the number off the top of my head, so I'm gonna put a blank. All right, I think in here it has MP3. I don't really need a warning like this because we're specific to the PyPortal in this guide. Mono and stereo files from 30. We want something similar to this. I'm actually going to reword this a little bit more. CircuitPython. Works best with stereo or mono. Audio, mono, stereo or mono files from 32 a bit second to 128 bit per with rates from 16 hertz 44. Hold the values same way as it was on the other guide. And I'll probably have a couple screenshots in here from Audacity that shows steps, like maybe if we can do a side 2 with a bullet list that puts the steps you do, and then maybe one other bigger screenshot if there's, I don't remember, there's maybe one, might be a couple of different windows that are relevant, so we can go one smaller on the side 2 and then one bigger one. So that'll be our convert MP3s. We'll make a section for let's see, air playlist JSON. PodPortal, Winamp there. .json. Like extra JSON. Switch between them by renaming JSON. Okay. And save. We'll have a code block here. Paste it onto the SD card. Previous step. Yes. Step. Also want to, after convert MP3s, we want to put new section, copy music to SD card. This part, which FAT32 or FAT. Yes. Micro SD card, technically. CircuitPython supports FAT file. If you were card formatted those, you repeat to add it. Connected to your PC, copy. Can sort them into different directories you want. Any direction you want. You can put the micro. Just make sure paths in playlist on file match. OSD. All right. So we got MP3. We'll fill in some screenshots. Copy music to the micro SD card. Maybe I'll put a screenshot of the file explorer showing the files. I don't know if it's super important. We might be able to be all right without it, but it would help to break up page. Of course, I'll have some images above this as well. So, pair playlist. Well, I think I mentioned, yeah, we should do. I should mention here also, if you want the artist's name to be shown, then you'll need to include it file name. Example. Awesome. Great. That's optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but you can. Files from playlist JSON stored in the CircuitPy drive. Create extra files. Sample playlist. Below, you can use it as a starting point. Modify the names and paths to match your song. Got your song files listed. Save a copy. Copy as playlist.json on yours. And have additional zone files. You must have exactly one playlist.json. Okay. All right. I think that's the bulk of this page. We'll get these screenshots and stuff from Audacity later. Maybe if I'm going to check also FFmpeg to see if there's a way to convert the files using a FFmpeg command, and if there is, maybe I'll put that command in here as well. But otherwise, I think we're pretty much there. A couple screenshots, maybe a picture of the file explorer with the songs on the SD card, and I think other than that, we're probably good on this page. Project setup. Page I'll probably keep a similar format to here. I like to put a download project bundle button explicitly on this page. There's also one generated by the system that gets put here. I just like including an extra one so it makes it super duper plainly obvious. Big old button in the middle of the page, impossible to miss, basically. Either one works, but I like putting this one here as well. So we'll go basically paragraph, button, drive structure, and in order to actually get the drive structure and the code embed, which I also include at the bottom of this page, we need to make a PR to the Learn Guide repo. So maybe I'll do that after stub out this page a bit, break from the Learn Guide editor and get back into GitHub land. Project setup, so let's go. We can probably copy most of what we said on this one. Plug the Pi portal into the computer with a known grid USB cable, not a tint charge only cable. Portal will appear as a flash drive. Pi. project files. Maybe at Nico. I think on Nico, did I put one other out about installing CircuitPython? Yeah. Copy this. This one's got the boilerplate in it as well. This is my previous guide here. Nico. Okay. So this is nice because it has a boilerplate that goes to the getting started guide, which you're actually supposed to include, and I just forgot it on the work from home one. But I looked more closely at the like making a guide. Notice that it's supposed to be there when I did Nico, so I put it in. Plug the PyPortal into your computer with a known good table and charge only. PyPortal will appear as a flash drive named CircuitPy. If the drive does not appear, you can install CircuitPython. We linked out to there on your PyPortal and then return here. Load project files with the download project bundle button below. Unzip the files, copy and paste and other project files to CircuitPy drive using Finder, depending on your option. That's all looking good. I'm going to preview this page and double check these links. So here, yep, getting started. So this is like folks brand new to CircuitPython would click this. If they don't have CircuitPython on their PyPortal already, bring them right over to this guide, which is the PyPortal guide. Has a page that tells them how to download CircuitPython, get into bootloader mode with the reset button, all of that. This way we're not duplicating all of that stuff. You know, having different versions that all need to get updated independently, we can kind of reuse the pages that are there and are good, and that way everyone sees the same instructions and it's relevant to their device, right? This is a PyPortal specific guide. So this is exactly what they will be doing if they have a PyPortal. Okay, I think we're good here. So we'll put the button back to the editor. Put the button. Button is alert. No, it's not alert. Wrong. It's button. Button. Info I like because it's blue, because the other one happens to be blue. This is why I choose it. Button title, this will be download project bundle. We don't have the link yet. We'll need to get our code into GitHub before we can have the link. I'm going to put a placeholder file, no, drive structure. No, we had a header for that, didn't we? Drive structure? Did. Yeah, let's put a header, drive structure. Actually have this boilerplate as well. There we go. Copying the files, drive should look like below. Back and delete that when I put the real image in. This will be a picture of the drive, and then below that we'll have the last section, which is code. The project code is shown below. Okay. And then we'll embed the code as well. Embed. Okay. So let's go make the PR for getting that stuff into the Learn Guide repo. But actually, this brings up a question that I had, which was basically, how do we want to put this in the Learn repo? So these screenshots, for folks that don't know, these screenshots like this, these are generated automatically. And this is actually something else that I did that I worked on stream. If folks are interested in this specific thing, I have no idea which stream it was, so I can't point you directly to it, but on my old streams on YouTube, there was I think maybe a day or two, one or two different streams where I was working on the code that does these. And they basically take the files that are shown here, they get them from inside the learning guide repo, which is this repo, Adafruit/Adafruit Learning System guides. This repo has a billion folders, right? We could scroll down and down and down and down and down, and there's more folders. So it's basically one folder per project in the Learn Guide system. And then those screenshots, each screenshot gets built for one of these directories. So we find NicoKitty, which is the last one I did, Python NicoCat. There's a screenshot that's generated for this directory, and that is the screenshot that actually gets shown on this page. And in fact, this is the exact one for the NicoCat. But the thing is, this project is different. The Winamp is different because we have CircuitPython code, which we want to include in the screenshot, but we also have the CPython code for converting skins. And so the question becomes, do we include the CPython code in the learning guide repo? And then if we do, is there a way that we can prevent it from showing up in the screenshot? Because we don't want the screenshot to show the converter script. You don't need to copy that to your CircuitPy drive. Realistically, you shouldn't copy it to your CircuitPy drive. It's probably not going to cause big of a problem if you do, but it will take up space and it's unneeded, which makes it undesirable. Yes, if you tried to import it, it would crash because there's no PIL. That's also not the end of the world, so. But gist of it being, we don't need it in the screenshot. I guess let's start with, let's put the CircuitPython code in. Let's make the PR that way, and then maybe on the other page, we'll either make a new folder in the Learn Guide repo, or maybe we'll make a separate repo that has the converter script and point people to there from that page. We don't need the screenshot for it. I don't know if we necessarily need to embed it or not. We could probably still embed it, though, if we put it in its own repo. I think let's do that. So this is, if you ever want to make a Learn Guide, probably going to have some code. This is what we need to do to get the code into GitHub. So this is my local copy of that same repo we just looked at on github.com with, a billion folders in here. We are going to do the normal get stuff. Check remotes. We have 2 remotes, Adafruit Foamy Guy, that's good. Git fetch Adafruit. Up to date. Let's go git checkout -b new branch. Winamp player. Name of our new branch. We're going from Adafruit main. No track. Forgot this no track the other day. Oh good, I think I pushed to an Adafruit branch. Remember which repo I was on. Okay. Now we can make a new folder. We'll call it pipe. Winamp player. I think it's called PyPortal something. Will be the 6th PyPortal W project. Need to go up on the side of that. PyPortal, Winamp, there. Still be mad at us for using Winamp player? Name of this? Wait and see. You can ask us to change it. We'll change that player. So inside of here, we're going to put a CodePy. The other thing is I was going to make a PR to display text to put the scrolling label in there since it's a little more generic than this project. I built it for this project, but it could be used for other stuff, so it'd be great to have it out in a library. So maybe I'll do that as well. Maybe we'll make a couple PRs here, although I'm going to have some code commenting to do on this anyway, so I may not actually make the Learn Guide PR just yet. What I will do, though, is copy the current version of the code into here. Doesn't really matter if we put the helpers file inside a lib or the root. What I call them, though, Winamp help. I'm going to save. I'm also going to put the base skin and the base skin config. Those will get included in the project, so those will be what get by default if you don't do it. The others, I think, probably just want to include the base and then really encourage people to go their own custom. Well, I think something just edited a file. Because this just started playing. Must have restarted itself. Maybe it's because I copied these off of the drive. Maybe something else wrote a file afterwards. Had a file or something. So I think we should also include playlist on. Just put empty? I don't necessarily think we should include these test files, but could include all of this and then put your files here. I could leave a comment. You really can't leave comments in JSON, but this way playlist will show up in the screenshot as well. All right, so yeah, I think I'm going to want to put a fair amount of commenting into this code before, well, actually not that much into this code because we refactored it into those helpers, but there's still some room for adding some comments here, and certainly in these helpers, I'll want to comment them as well. And I don't think necessarily I want to do all of that right now today. I think what I will do, though, is let's pick this scrolling label and PR it to display text, and I think maybe there's also another PR we could review on display text while we're at it. And then if I get those things done, I think I'll head out for the night. I got a good start on this guide. I got a couple of the pages done, stubbed out, ready for my code and my screenshot photo. The code walkthrough page, really that should come after I do all the commenting. I usually do those like one after the other. I'll go through and like really thoroughly comment the whole project code, and then I'll write the walkthrough, this walkthrough page, like immediately after, while everything is like super fresh in the front of my brain. And that's how I get kind of the best, most detailed like walkthrough of how the code works. I think display text. So Kmatch mentioned there is a port. Yeah. Let's review this and then also PR the scrolling text. So this will be going off a bit different than what I have been working on, but this is actually the kind of stuff that I do more frequently on stream. If folks are interested in the Learn Guide stuff, ping me on Twitch or Discord or somewhere and let me know that that type of content is interesting to you. I'm happy to do more Learn Guide stuff. When I am working on Learn Guides, I'm happy to do it on the stream sometimes. But I do, like I said, I think this is probably the first time that I've ever like really done one from the ground up on this stream. I do tend to stick to programming and testing and things like that a little more. Okay, so this is boiling down to a problem with word wrapping. Word wrapping is an optional feature inside of the display text library. There's two helper functions which allow you to wrap your text to one of them allows you to go to a certain number of characters in each line, and one of them allows you to go to a certain number of pixels of width, which sometimes works out roughly the same as characters, but sometimes doesn't. It depends if you have a monospaced font or not. And it turns out there was a bug with wrapping to pixels where it would lose some spaces. Like there's supposed to be a space here between simplify and exp, but it did not put the space. And there's supposed to be a space here between low cost and then MIC from microcontrollers, but there is not a space. So that's the bug, is some of the spaces are getting eaten. He has also submitted PR, the solution, I believe. Yep, so we probably added an if block or something. Yeah, we do have to do this sometimes in the libraries. Once we get, if our code gets too complex according to Pylint, and ultimately we could refactor it. But sometimes it is worth just making it work and then worrying about a refactor a little bit further down the line. Like, I personally, I would always prefer to start a refactor from a known working state as well. Even if the known working state is a little bit more complex than it needs to be. Personally, I prefer, like, as opposed to starting a refactor and fixing a bug at the same time, right? Like, this way we fix the bug explicitly, it's done, it works how it's supposed to, then we refactor it and keep the behavior the same, rather than trying to both change the behavior by fixing the bug and do a refactor all at once, which can get dicey, for me at least. So I am totally okay with what Kmatch mentioned, which is basically that ultimately a refactor would be good, but for now we add these exceptions to Pylint and go with what we got. So basically this is setting new line to true and then deciding whether or not there should be a space as the lead character. Part true, back to false. Okay, I think I followed that logic. So let's test this out. The text, probably been a minute, I guess, since I did anything with this. Oh, we're in the Learn Guide repo, aren't we? I was in the Learn Guide repo. The list was so long. Okay, get remote -v. Got a bunch more remotes. Git fetch Adafruit. PHPR list. PHPR checkout. 63. Okay. The text on our device. Take code and just copy it into code Winamp. It's probably already the same, honestly, but anyway, and then I'm going to empty out code and then save it. That's going to stop the song from playing. We're going to, I think, the 2 character count, pixel width, line count, and or pixel height would be useful. Yeah, setting the height to the line count would be cool. And or pixels, yeah, that's true. Really, I guess, I think what we need is a label. I actually started working on this at one point, but I never actually finished it and published it. Right now, if you think about it, the way that our labels work, you don't specify the size in our labels. You can't make a label that is 100 pixels wide and 100 pixels tall and then fill it with text and have it just occupy that space. Right now, what we have is you make a label, you fill it with text, and its height and width change to reflect the text that you put inside of it. So right now, our labels are, and bitmap label and label both behave the same way. They both are adaptive to whatever content you put in them. They'll change their size to fit whatever content you put in. We almost need like a fixed size label. I don't know the best name for it. Something like that, fixed size label, and this one would just fundamentally work different. It would say you have to set a width and a height, but your width and your height will get respected. So if you set a width and a height of, 200 pixels wide and 100 pixels tall, and then you put, a full paragraph in there, some of your paragraph might get cut off. Or actually, I know another thing Kmatch is working on is scrolling text vertically as well. So scrolling multiple lines, which could also play into this, because if you make once we have a fixed size label, once we have a label where you declare the size and it stays that size and exactly that size, then the idea of scrolling up and down or left and right becomes very valuable, because you could put more, especially up and down, because you could put more text than fits in it, and it either gets cut off or you provide some way to scroll. But I think that's what we need, though, for the pixel height and the number of lines count setting the height. I think ultimately the thing that fills that gap is this fixed size label, this label that just fundamentally works differently and takes its size hard-coded rather than adapting to its content to decide the size. But it is like a totally different sort of foundational behavior for the label than what we have today. I should try to dig up where I started. No, I started it because it would be helpful for grid layouts. You can put labels in grid layouts today, but if you have too much text in your label, then the label gets too big and things start getting crazy. If we had this fixed size label, then you could include those labels in your grid layout, and no matter what content you put them, it would never mess up the layout. It might still look weird if you have too much text in there. Some of it might still get cut off, but it would at least not break the grid. All right, so this is our test program. This is the wrong browser. Let's go to the right browser. This is our test program for wrapping by pixels. And also, how's it going, Cedar Grove? Thanks for tuning in. Hello there. And so the actual code in the test program does not exhibit the error, but what we'll do is we'll drop in the text that KMatch had that does exhibit the error. I'm going to close some of these. I don't need these for now. This one will keep because that's what we're working on. One of the nice things about Learn is everything, except for when you're actively editing in a text box. Like if I click in here and I make changes, then it's waiting for me to click save. But everything else, like if I'm moving things around or adding to the page or removing from the page or swapping the page order, all of that kind of stuff, all saves automatically. So I can just close these tabs and all of my changes are safe. They're all in there. Since I didn't have any unsaved text boxes, all of this stuff should be saved into there and right there for us when we come back. Clean up the tabs. Oh, he left a test code thing as well, actually. Oh, this is like even a super thorough test, actually. This is not only just running the test at one size, it's running the test at a bunch of sizes. So let's use this, actually. Although I do like this one as it is that, or I wish I could change the order of these. I do like this one too because this one visually shows whether the wrapping is working. The way this one works is the wrapping is set to the same width as this red bar, and then the text, I gave it a blue background. So this way, what you're looking for is the blue to be about the same width as the red, no bigger than the red, to put it more specifically. The blue should always be smaller than the red, and you can change the text in here. And depending on how long, the different words are before it finds spaces, it might go further out to the edge. Like this one is way out to the edge, but the rest of these wrap early because the next word is too big. This always gives you a visual way to just at a glance tell if the wrapping worked correctly. But we will drop in KMatch's test code. It's here. This is just printing to the terminal. Most of what we want is in here. Really, the things we're looking for are going to be back up towards the beginning, and it's going to be just making sure that we don't have any of that, what were the examples? They were like, the one where microcontroller... low-cost microcontroller. Simplify was the other one, I think. Simplify experimenting. These ones are all good. These all have them split into different lines, basically. So one line ends with simplify, the next line begins with experimenting. And here we do see that it did correctly put this space in here. So that was one of the spots where it was bad before. Oh, I see. Okay, this is getting reset a couple of different times here. Let's do the let's do this full one up here, actually. This one has the microcontroller. This way we can see the low-cost microcontroller. I mean, this is kind of an all-or-nothing bug, I think. Like, if it is fixed in one case, I believe it should be fixed in all the cases, but nice to be able to see the other one is head back up here. Yeah, simplify experimenting. Cost microcontroller. Yep, so here they're in the same row, but they have the space between them. So up here, they're in different rows. Looks like everything is working out all right. The one other thing I'll do, well, I guess we already did it, right? I was gonna say the one other thing I will do is test the actual one that's in the repo, which is the visual one, but we did actually already do that. Again, but that output looked good to me. This one doesn't print anything. On spaces and hyphens. Answer yes, just spotted it. Yep. Okay, and this does still look like it's working. The tell on this one again is the blue should always be smaller than the red. The red is the exact size that the wrap 2 pixels is set to. And the wrap 2 pixels will always stay below that size. Sometimes it'll be a couple pixels below. Sometimes it could be even further below. Like if you told it to wrap to this amount of pixels and then you just gave it one word, CircuitPython, right? Then it's going to wrap right at the end of CircuitPython. Generally, if you're using wrapping like this, you have more than one word, more than one line probably. So not a super practical case, but there is a case where it could end up much shorter. If you have a good sample of text, generally it'll get pretty close to the full width, but it should never go over. And in this case, we have exactly that, so we're good here. Yeah. We passed CI. Again, you know, eventually we will want to refactor probably. Part of this is because we're inside of a init, which is also where the base class is declared. So we actually have multiple different components of software being added together, which is also probably partially leading to this. Some of that refactoring could just be change the wrap functions to their own file or something, and maybe that would knock these back down. But it would also break the code, because then you would need to import it differently. So it does make sense still, I think, to do it this way and then fix it later on. And when we do fix it, we'll bump the major version if we do end up breaking the API for importing. Okay. I think I'm on 7.2.0 alpha still. Double check. I guess technically I'm probably on a cutting edge build from the other day when we did the split screen stuff. That's the other thing I know Dan mentioned during the meeting, making a new alpha release, which I'm stoked about because that means our split screen stuff will be released in the alpha, so folks can start using it without having to go to like S3 and pull the latest build. Nice. I think once that is released, I think I want to try making like some basics of display IO videos that use that split screen thing as an example, because it lets you see the code and the output. Very powerful thing. So we got this, tested out, we left a review, we merged it, we'll make a release. Then I'll go back and I'll make a PR for my scrolling label. I'll probably call it a night after that. It's going to be 2.21.4. This one just includes a bug fix. Wrap 2 pixels. Bug fix. A issue that causes faces to be edited. Times. Thank you to Kmatch. Release contains a fix for a wrap 2 pixels issue that caused spaces to be omitted erroneously sometimes. Got 21.4. 21.3 is previous. 2.21.4 is definitely above it. So now let's go and make a new branch. Git checkout. No, actually we should do this again. Git fetch Adafruit because we just merged. So now there's updates in main that we don't have locally because we literally just made them by clicking merge on that browser. So we fetch and then we go checkout -b new branch name scrolling label. From Adafruit main, no track. And I think what I'll do here is just make a new one of these. Scrolling label. Yeah, take it easy, Cedar. You may have left already, but thanks for tuning in. Cool to see the guide repo workflow. Nice. Okay, so we have the code for this inside of Winamp helper. I think this is pretty much ready to just take this. I'm gonna. Did I save this already in Learn Guide repo? Did. I'll cut it then. Cut it from the PyPortal itself. Debating copy or cut. Ultimately, we won't need the code in here if it does get put into display text. All right, and so we need imports, bitmap label, and time. This one might be able to just say maybe not. Hmm. Okay, we have no red. Okay. One thing is we don't have any of the boilerplate in this, and we also don't have any code comments or anything. To a fixed width label scrolls enough to if large enough so we'll go inside of here. Params, these go colon param. Space name colon space. Number of characters that sets the fixed width. Default is 10. text. Full label is longer than characters. Label scroll. Animate time. Animate time. This is the number of seconds in between animation frames. The number of seconds in between rolling animation frames. Result is 0.3 seconds. One or two more. Current index. Index of the first character, first visible character table. Default line. Default is 0. Increase going. Okay. Update. To update the display. Time has elapsed since this frame, then if the characters to or information. First the up. False. Return none. Int. That's right. It's int. Current index. Index of the first visible character. Setter would actually just take the same one. Full text. Of this label. Full text you show if it's longer. Characters. Scroll. We should put an update. This should say must be called frequently main loop. Must be called in the main loop. Main loop user code. I'll leave out frequently. The idea is, though, you can't like sleep for multiple seconds in between calling this. I mean, you can, but then the animation won't work. It's not like it doesn't animate itself in the background. You have to call update for the animations to actually occur. That's a good chunk of this. Let's run pre-commit. Saying, yeah, we'll have definite black problem. Saying we'll have a couple other pilots as well. Let's run it again, just make sure our black is reuse is failing. This is for some stuff that's not real though. These we need to fix though. Line too long. Okay. Too many arguments. Yeah, we're just gonna have this, I think. Just have a lot of arguments. It's kind of confused. That's necessary else. Okay, the line numbers are different though because we've changed stuff now. Let's run this. I spelled it wrong. Unnecessary else after raise. But it's not unnecessary because, well, okay, I see. If this is true, then this raises, then we don't execute anything after it anyway. So this is saying that we can get rid of else. Let's see. Yeah, I guess it's unnecessary. We can get rid of else. We can move this back. I would argue it's unnecessary, but like more clarity in the code. It makes it explicit that either this is going to happen or this is going to happen, which is still the case, but now it's not explicit. You have to know the laws of like the fact that raising will stop the code execution. I guess people should know, but also I feel like code being explicit is probably better. But Pylon wants it this way. Pylon will get it this way for now. This one, unnecessary else after return. So this is basically the same principle, which is that we return here, which means code execution would stop. Means everything we have inside of this else block could actually just be back one, then we could get rid of else. Technically, the logic is still the same. All right, so now we're passing. We're still failing reuse, but that's because of those files that aren't actually checked in. Therefore, those will not be a problem on GitHub. We passed black, we passed Pylent. These are the important parts. CD docs. Docs. All right, we got a successful docs build. This is probably good for the most basic PR. Oh, you know, we should include a, yeah, we should include an example actually. display text scrolling label. Okay. Basically, I'm just going to take the simple test and modify it. We're going to go from display text scrolling label, import scrolling label. Making a scrolling label. Don't need this. Font. Pass text. It's full text. We need, oh, we should pass a max characters. Put an animate time as well, even though we're going to use the default. I think this should be good, but I did write this live, so let's see. So now our wrapping test, we don't need that, that's in the repo. Did we get it? Still in the repo. Did we get it? Well, okay, yeah, that doesn't count as failure. We need to copy this PyPortal. Invalid test. Technically a failure. I'm saying not technically because you can actually do stuff that succeed. How did we succeed? Yes, and the thing is we have not called update, so we should do that. Here, instead of while true pass, this should now be text area. I'm going to rename the name, actually. Let's not use text area. I don't generally like calling things my whatever, but in this case, it's literally an example of the scrolling label. Its entire existence is to be a scrolling label, so it's here. I do want to make sure that didn't change any other files, though. Oh, well, we're on device workspace, actually. I don't care if it changes. In the repo, we don't. We definitely want to make sure it doesn't. Update. We need to call update in here. Here we go. Okay. Now, have actual change. Yep. Perfect. Hello world, CircuitPython, scrolling label. And we could, of course, make it faster by lowering the animation time. But there is a maximum of like when it will start to be hard to read. I will also mention, since we're going through the camera here, there's a maximum speed that my refresh rate on my camera will really be able to pick up. So this one still seems to be going at a pretty good clip, though, honestly. I feel like 3 is a good, is a good default, though. 0.3 is nice, like, really gives you time to read everything if you're not reading super fast. 0.2 is not bad either. I'll leave it on 3 since that's the default. All right, I think that's all we need for the example. Anything else? Oh, you need to take this code and put it back to the repo because we changed it ever so slightly. I'd say that's still a failure test because we didn't forget to call update. I would have put update in the first time. Not this as a first try. We're good now, though. Have a license in there. We have our new class. Doc's built. Let's run pre-commit again. Let's go back. one more. Whoops. I really wish I could tell reuse to ignore files that are not checked into the repo. I almost want to like go PR reuse. Wonder if they would accept a PR like that for an issue even. I mean, it seems like it should not look at them though. I mean, especially inside pre-commit. The whole point is like checked in files. I don't know. All right, we have our new example. We have our new class. I think we're good here. This is our new class. Of course, they're all solid walls of green because we've added both files. Scrolling label. Foamy Guy scrolling label, which is a new branch. Actual changes for the latest commit. All right, we're going to make that PR, and then I'm going to head out for now. Oh my, okay, we're probably done with this, right? I can go into it. There. Generic enough to be used for purposes. Yes. And that's going to be. I will make sure this passes actions, and then we'll request a review. If anybody is watching this and is interested in getting involved in helping review, you are more than welcome to review this PR. I definitely appreciate anyone and everyone who wants to take a look at this PR or any others. I think that's going to do it for the stream for now, so I will head out. The next time I'll be back should be definitely Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. That's the normal slot where I stream weekly. So that's really the only stream I kind of like commit to week in and week out, is that 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Coming up here in another couple of weeks, I'll be doing Friday evenings as well, deep dive, starting at 4 p.m. Central Time. But there will still be a few weeks for that. I think Scott mentioned maybe the first week in March, or maybe the second week in March will be, one of those two will be the ones where I take over on Fridays, and then I'll be doing Friday evenings for a little while. But beyond that, it's Saturday morning, that's what I have on the schedule right now, is Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. So I'll definitely be back then. If you're interested in this kind of content and you want a chance to catch me sometime before then, you can subscribe to me on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch, I guess, and you'll get notifications when I go live. Sometimes I go live on Mondays. Oftentimes I stream a lot. Sometimes I stream on other evenings. I happen to be working on stuff that I feel like talking about and that I think people will find interesting. So if you follow me there, you can get notified when I do sort of impromptu streams. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to C. Grover for the suggestions in the chat. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to everyone who happens to be a member of the CircuitPython community. Definitely appreciate all of you. And today being my first time running the meeting, especially a lot of folks mentioned it during the meeting and gave thanks to me and such like that. So I'm very grateful for everyone. I'm very grateful for the whole community. So thank you to all of you, and I will catch you all later. Thanks.